We want transparency. We represent over 70 families, and it's a mix of families in India and the UK. This appears to be a very humble, hard-working family that is suffering a horrific tragedy. We want to know the truth. We want transparency. We want to know exactly what happened here. These families want to know, and they deserve the respect to know what happened to their loved ones.
Sir, how many families have hired you so far? How many are from India and how many are international passengers?
Yeah, so far we represent over 70 families, and it's a mix of families in India and the UK, also families that are on the plane and also on the ground. So we represent people who were affected in many, many ways.
Sir, how many families did you meet in Dew? Did you meet the lost Xavier? What did you have to say?
We did. We traveled to Dew, met with a number of families. We were asked to come to a home and meet, which we did. We met with families and representatives at the hotel in a conference room, and we were asked by a community leader to travel to the home of the survivor. We did. We went and met with him and his family. And what I can tell you is this appears to be a very humble, hard-working family that is suffering a horrific tragedy. We have to remember that he is a victim here. He was in the crash, and he also suffered loss of a family member. So anything that I would ask would be to respect his privacy at this time, because this family is suffering greatly.
Sir, have you got some new information or insighting about the plane crash incidents?
We do. We're currently working on a number of potential theories that could have occurred. They center around things that can affect the FADEC and the throttle control malfunctioning system. One question currently is whether or not moisture can affect those systems, could create a short, could cause a problem there. And so a question that we're going to be looking at is, are there any previous notices from Boeing where they were aware that that could occur?
So you visited before Sunday plane crash course. What do you find something?
The previous site of the plane crash?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did. We traveled to the site during our first visit to Ahmedabad. We spoke with individuals who were on the ground on the day of the crash. We talked with some of the police and law enforcement who were in the area. And we also saw the site. We saw the buildings involved. And so we got a sense of the size and scale of the crash site and the magnitude of what happened there. Again, very, very sobering to be there.
Also, this is the U.S. company and you have filed case in the U.S. What challenging and winning?
Sure. There are always challenges in litigation. There are many challenges in product liability litigation. Not only do we have to start where we are now in determining what happened, we have to determine whether or not there is a defect then that caused this. We have to determine if a problem in design or manufacturing may have led to this, or if it's a maintenance issue. Sometimes it's a combination of the two. So the challenges initially are putting the puzzle together, finding out what happened. After that, we say, well, did a defect render this product unfit for its intended purpose? Was it foreseeable it was going to be used in this way? Did someone misuse it? And did it fail under its ordinary use? So in this case, the question would be, is it foreseeable a plane is going to take off? Is it foreseeable that pilots are going to rotate and begin to take off? Of course, that's the function of the plane. So the questions become, what happened behind the scenes? And this is a very, very complex, complicated, electrically driven, computer-operated aircraft. What other things could have gone wrong? Did the pilots make the inputs, or did the computer call for an uncommanded, uncontrolled, erroneous input that led to this. Once we make those determinations, we begin to look at things like alternative designs. Are there designs out there that could have prevented this from happening, could have mitigated the injuries, could have made it less likely? We look at things like, what do competitors do? What does Boeing do on other aircraft? There's so many designs and so many ways to prevent incidents from occurring. That's why it's so important for manufacturers to foresee the way their products can be used and the way their products could fail. There's a process known as Design Failure Modes Effects Analysis. Sometimes it's abbreviated DFMEA, right? Here's what that means. A manufacturer should look at the design of its product, and it should say, how are the ways that this product could fail? And then if it fails in that manner, what are the effects of that? And then, are there ways to change that? Are there ways to design that out? And you look at things like the frequency and the severity and those kinds of things. So in terms of challenges in this litigation, there are many. There are many. But aviation safety, product safety is important.
Sir, why does the Indian pilot community support him?
Currently, the Indian pilot community associates the pilots in this crash because they know his qualifications. They know that any speculation at this point is a rush to judgment. It's unfounded. It's based on less than the full picture. And that's why it's so important that the full flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder be released so that we all know what happened.
Sir, how many lives are the risk on 787 regular flights?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. We can't really answer that until we know what happened, right? For example, is this an issue that was unique to this aircraft? If there is an issue, is it an issue that's unique to a series in this aircraft, a production run, or dates? Is it an issue that's unique to a certain type of maintenance or lack thereof? We don't know the answer to that yet. However, we know that about 500,000 people every day fly on these aircraft, and they certainly deserve to know whether that aircraft is safe.
Sir, you meet any familiar who have not received Rs 25 lakhs interim help?
We have. We've been very surprised at that. Even in the U.S., we know who Rotten Tata was. We know a little bit in the U.S. of his work ethic and his focus on being humble and taking care of his employees. And so we know that if he were here today, we don't believe employees and victims and people who were on the airplane and on the ground would be subjected to a bureaucratic process in which they're delayed payment. We met with one family, I'll tell you in particular, who the elderly mother is bedridden, and she was depending upon her son to provide income to pay for her health care. He is now deceased. They have not received payment. What are they supposed to do? They are now left at the mercy of the world in determining how she is supposed to go on when the person that was helping provide for her was killed through no fault of his own.
Sir, would Ratan Tata allow such rumors against the pilot who follow all rules?
No, we don't think so. We think, based on what I know of his legacy, is that he would want understanding and patience, and he would want a thorough investigation. I think he would call himself for all of the data to be released so that the whole world knows the truth of what happened here. Thank you.